the core four, aka modern day girlfriends, aka Y2K energy. You know what I'm saying? Girl group energy, Destiny's Child, all four members energy. You know what I'm saying? It just shut the roof off. Just shut it down with their Teen Vogue interview. And if they do be on the villa, this is who needs to be front and center. I need more Core 4 interview stat, you guys. Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we are talking Love Island USA Season 8 postseason, the gift that keeps on giving. There's a lot of content I got to get to y'all. I was overstimulated today. I was overfed today. I don't know what Peacock is doing with this rollout. Y'all could have spaced out all these interviews. I still got to do the Anaya interview with Ebony Magazine. There's a couple of Brinity interviews that I might have to just combine in one video because I wanted to point out a couple of things because they did a few things with Cosmopolitan that I wanted to talk about that shuts down, the false narratives that Soul was trying to put out there and some other things. And then there also is an interview that Kata and Trinity did that I thought was really awesome. And I believe it's almost at 500,000 views on the YouTube, y'all. I believe it is almost at 500,000 views. And also Melanie did a solo interview today with Vulture that has the Mel Sear fans and the Mel Solo fans going back and forth. And then there is a interview that Carl did that has people in an uproar because he wants to have a solo brand. And I don't know what's wrong with that. I do not know what's wrong with that, but trust and believe we're going to get to all of it over the next couple of days, y'all. Over the next couple of days, we're going to get to all of it, you guys. But in today's video, we've got to get into Core 4. Now, some of y'all may not know, there is actually a corresponding YouTube video of the Teen Vogue interview. I don't know if y'all were aware. Because I immediately, when I saw the photo on the Instagrammies that I believe already has over 1 million likes, I was reading the article. I had no clue that there was a whole YouTube that was 16 minutes. And apparently, allegedly, there's a part 2 of the video. And I don't know if it's going to come out before the reunion or after the reunion. But either way, I'm sad. Either way, I am sad. So I just want to get into some tidbits from this interview because they pretty much wanted to sit down and talk to all of them. They had mentioned that Zack Attack and Bryce were out thrifting together and everything else. They also wanted to, highlight the fact that it is all about the female friendships and different ups and downs that the women had in the villa, as well as coming outside of the villa in the public eye. They also felt that, this was kind of, the show might be trying to find their next PPG, but ultimately it sounds like the Core 4 just genuinely clicked with each other, but not all 4 were necessarily a Core 4 per se from the beginning. And it is interesting to see the different conversations and the different dynamics and all of the things and all of the sorts. So ultimately, regarding the friendship chemistry, Anaya said, I was just like, okay, my fellow Black Queen. And that is what Anaya felt seeing Trinity and said that, when they first met. And then Trinity was like, oh, okay, cuzzy. And then Trinity, because as you know, Trinity calls Anaya her cuzzy, right? And so ultimately, they also had, several time to build their bond over the 6 weeks in the villa. They fought a lot. They argued a lot, which is something the people did not know. They were stealing people's beauty products, their makeup setting sprays. Anaya stole Trinity's soap apparently, and they would dig in each other's drawers and steal Kata's perfume and everything else. Like it was a whole thing. And Kata would be like, I know you stole my perfume because I can smell it on you. No. Right? So they ask a lot of burning questions. So the first question was, what is the biggest culture shock? As far as getting out of, the normal life of the day to day and going to a show in Fiji that you have no outside world access. You have nothing, you know what I'm saying? And you have to follow a production schedule for a TV show. So Anaya is the quickest to get ready, but she was, that was one of the adjustments as well of just having to move everything at a fast pace. And apparently Kata typically takes 3 hours to get ready. So she had to now cut that time frame down to 30 minutes. So then Melanie said, not knowing what the day or the time was. So ultimately, she would just make up in her head, like guesstimate what time it was. Trinity felt like she was a Sims character. That basically all the producers knew what time it was, knew what day it was, and what was happening in the real world, but you did not, right? And so they just basically kept saying that they were on Fiji time. So then as well, they felt they got emotional because they all miss their family because they're all very close to their families and everything else. But I think what happened due to the fact that they didn't have that access, they leaned on each other. They leaned on each other to, really help be supportive. And Trinity said, we're all sisters. We are all sisters. That's why we understand. We can have an argument, but we're going to get over the argument in 10 minutes. And so they talked about the fact that they argued every single day. And then Melanie would be like, okay, after this argument in a couple minutes, can you put some oil on me? Can you oil me down? And then Trinity and Kata apparently got into it a lot. And then after that, Kata would be like, can you flat iron my hair? And so then it sounds like a couple of things. So one major thing they argued about, a couple of things. One was Kata always wanted to wear black. And apparently on the show, I don't know if y'all know this, only one out of the female cast is allowed to wear black. And I think it is for filming and camera purposes that they want to make sure everyone is in a different color. So if you have multiple islanders that are all wearing black, it might mess up the view from a viewer's perspective and from a camera perspective if there's too many people all wearing black, right? So basically Kata in her suitcase mostly packed all black and white stuff and very little multicolor stuff. And she quickly ran out of the multicolor stuff. So anytime the other ladies wanted to wear something black, Kata was always trying to, have first dibs. And they were not feeling that. They were not featuring that. Another argument was when they have their off days, because as you guys know, they have an off day, 1 day a week where, you are not filming the show, you're not talking about the show, they're playing music on this loudspeaker box, and apparently Trinity hates Kata's music taste because Kata is a huge country music fan, and Trinity is like, listen, look at here, I want to get to my rap music, I want to get to some hip-hop, all this and all of that, and I guess Anaya was supposed to be the next person to play whatever song she wanted to hear. She was next in line in the queue. And apparently what had happened was Kata was not feeling it, right? That she was not feeling it. Basically when Trinity grabbed the speaker and they were talking with production about something, Kata got really mad at Trinity and was like, you always want to turn down my music. Because country music was playing, Trinity was ready to get her stuff and get Anaya song going, and, Kata got really pissed off. And so Anaya said that Kata's face turned red. Trinity said that she went red. She said her chest popped out in the beginning, and Anaya said the chest popped out. It rhymes with wit, and pimples, it rhymes with pimples were hard as S-H-I-T, and I was like, this witch with a B is mad as F-U-C-K, right? So ultimately, Kata was like, we're not listening to any music. What? And so Anaya was like, you guys are so petty. You guys are so petty. See, people think that it's Anaya that likes to argue or wants to argue or raise her voice with people. It sounded like she was kind of shook at the way that Trinity and Kata were going back and forth on these arguments and stuff, because they would have like real screaming match arguments. So ultimately, Trinity mocked Anaya's voice, saying, y'all are stressing me out. Anaya does not like conflict, you guys. She does not like conflict. She does not like arguing. She does not like any of the sort. And so Kata ultimately was like, we're listening to nothing. We're listening to nothing. If you don't like my country music, we're not going to listen to anything, right? And then after that, they started laughing and everything else. So Kata explains that she feels like the reason why she instantly connected with Trinity is because they're men, and Zack Attack and Bryce are besties. So by nature, they were going to hang out with each other a lot. And they also sat next to each other and getting ready and everything else. But basically said they got a sisterly bond. And Mel said that they talk to each other like sisters to the point that production had to say something to them. And this reminds me of the fact that they got rid of all of those black producers season 6. Remember Leah said she complained and got a whole bunch of producers fired? And I don't know if you look at recent pictures of the said producers, it does not look like the same set of producers that were on season 6 that really highlighted Serena and Janelle. Just saying. So ultimately what happened is these arguments were happening every day. And it got to the point where production kept coming in and saying, hey, do you guys want to talk this out? Do you guys want to have a conversation? Do you want to kind of film some confessionals to give your side of the argument and all of this and all of that? And this is how I knew there was not any black producers. Because they're basically like, listen, look at here. We got sisters in real life. We go back and forth with our sisters like this in real life, and we're going to be fine. We just need to cuss each other out about this one issue. We're going to tell them directly to their faces what we feel about this one issue, and then we're going to keep it pushing, right? And so then as well, there was also a thing where I guess Kata has a thing where she always likes to sit down first. And apparently she also did this at the reunion as well. So ultimately, but they were trying to explain to production, listen, it's all jokes at the end. We'll cuss each other out, and then we're going to kiss and make up and steal each other's stuff when it is all said and done. And so the one boy that they talked about was they asked about first impressions that we did not get to see on camera or any of the sort. So they said that when they first saw Corbin, they did not trust him. They were not feeling him. They were not featuring him. They thought he was shady. They thought he was ChatGPT coded. Anaya thought he was a fake person, but he's actually in real life very goofy. He's very much a goofball. And Trinity basically said, not saying that he's not sophisticated, but that he was trying to give a brick wall. And Anaya's like, you're literally the goofiest one out of everyone. And so then when Trinity got to know him and got more comfortable, she said that he's not serious at all. He's not serious at all. And even Kata said that she has to give it to him that he's a cool guy, right? And so then Teen Vogue asked, okay, did any of y'all have like a persona or a character or things like that in mind that you guys wanted to play when you came into the show? Melanie hit it right out of the park and basically said that if you are trying to play a persona and you don't want to be yourself, you're going to go crazy trying to keep up with that persona, because what if things do not go the way you expect it to in playing that persona? And Melanie, for one reason, and really wanted a friend, and then she came out with several friends, but she ultimately just really wanted a friend to survive this, because she felt by having a friend they could bond over the experience. And so then Kata agreed and said, but as a bombshell, she had to come in with confidence because she did not know what she was walking into or any of the sort. And then the girls all hype up Kata that she is the ultimate bombshell. She's the OG bombshell. But to keep it a buck, you guys, I mean, really, her heart was set on Zack Attack. You know what I'm saying? Like, this season in particular, overall, the bombshells didn't bombshells. Now, if we're just talking about aesthetic, yes, Kata came in and shut it down. But the bombshells overall, in my opinion, did not really pull many people for chats, did not really explore like that, and everything else. It kind of just seemed like once they set their sights, they set their sights. Because remember when Kata came back from Paradise Cove, she basically had to choose between Bryce and Zack Attack, right? Like immediately choose who she wanted to be in a couple with, right? So ultimately, Trinity was talking. They also were upset because Bryce was gone, which was Trinity's man, and it felt like a long time. The girls were complaining. They said that in the villa, 24, 48 hours can feel like 10 days, can feel like a week, and everything else. And apparently Melanie and Kata did not get along at first because, basically she felt as though, you took Melanie's front man, is what she was trying to say. And so basically Melanie was like, she didn't know him that long and everything else, but ultimately they just felt so long being at Paradise Cove, right? And so that happened with that. And so then as well, the next question, they basically asked, did everything play out the way that you guys were hoping for? And yeah, and Melanie said that, yeah, Kata, you got your English man, and Trinity was like, English breakfast. Then the question was asked about how the flack that the men got on social media, and they talked about how Trinity posted that statement for Zack Attack and wanted to ask about how they manage social media. So Trinity said that they have a very good support system of friends and family, and they basically said that they know the truth, that fans and everybody can have their opinions, but ultimately they can say whatever they want about your friendship or your relationship. There's still people to this day that think that Trinity and Bryce are faking their relationship, and she doesn't even know how that became a thing. I'll tell you how it became a thing is because they keep comparing you to season 7 couples. They keep comparing you to past seasons and what people in past seasons did or didn't do. And they're making assumptions off of you because they're trying to do a comparison Olympics. And they don't like the fact that you and Bryce are so successful like this right out the gate and are getting these types of opportunities and demand, and want to try to put that you guys are fake or PR. So ultimately, Trinity also felt as though that she feels like it's either old bots or it is 13-year-olds that are coming up with all these conspiracy theories and all this hate and all this negativity and all these threats to people, and felt as though when you look at their profile, it doesn't have a lot of followers, or it says to follow back, but then it also says that they have God in their bio. And it's like, well, how can God be in your bio if you're cussing people out over a TV show? It's one thing if you're going to agree or disagree with something that happened on the show. It's another where you're just feeling insults and feeling stan wars and just feeling hate or spreading misinformation or spreading propaganda. And then Kata also echoed that she felt them having each other really saved us, because she felt as though if she didn't have any friends when she left the show, that she would have been curled up in her bed still. And that's unfortunate, right? But because of the strength of the core four and their bond and their family and friend support, that was not going to happen. So then as well, Melanie said while they were in the villa, they basically said, no matter what people think of us, no matter what they say, whatever, no matter what narrative, we're going to have each other. We're going to know the truth and everything else because we're the ones that lived it in the villa. And truth be told, I always want these Islanders to watch back the show. It's not so much that they don't know what happened. It's more so about what people are saying about them behind their backs in the confessionals is really the main thing. Or in conversations that they may not be privy to that have happened about them. Is really so they can kind of have the full picture of everything, right? But ultimately, they said that their core four is going to be 10 toes down for each other no matter what the case is. Then Trinity talked about y'all stans, some of you stans that are trying to pin her and Anaya against each other. That y'all are trying to make it as though two beautiful dark-skinned black women cannot get along, cannot be friends, cannot be sisters, can't call each other cousins, and all of the things and all of the sort. And they do not understand it. And Kata sees y'all going back and forth in the comments. So I think one of two things. I know for a fact that Sincere has a Twitter account. I know for a fact that some of the siblings of the Core 4 have a Twitter account. And I think what has happened is those siblings and potentially Sincere run back to the core four on what the daily discourse is on Twitter, and I'm going to ask y'all to stop. And I feel like some of y'all don't even believe what y'all tweeting sometimes. Some of y'all just want to hit tweet. Some of y'all want to continue to keep mess up because that's how y'all keep paid, right? That's how y'all get paid. So you got to keep up mess. Y'all got to keep up Stan Wars. Y'all got to keep up discourse over nothing because y'all are desperate for something to go viral and something to have high engagement, even if it's at the expense of your fave. No. And that is why the core four is not on Twitter. But they're fully aware of your shenanigans and they just ignore it. And so then Anaya basically was like, please, not my cousin. And, you know, Trinity was like, I was just with Anaya a couple of hours ago while y'all talking all that cash SHIT. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we saying? So then, you know, I'm just hoping that it stops. But I've realized with some of these new fans and this new audience that this season in particular has attracted, some of y'all just want discourse to have discourse. Some of y'all cannot let go of what happened on the show, and Trinity has tried to tell y'all in multiple interviews that the show is over, that they're trying to navigate their real lives after this, and y'all need to let the show go. Now, we're going to have obvious discourse based off of what does or doesn't happen at the reunion on Monday. But the way some of y'all like to keep this stuff up for years and years and years, it gets to a point. Because y'all did it with season 6. Y'all doing it now still with season 7. And y'all doing too much with season 8. So then as well, the next question Teen Vogue had was, while people at home have their opinions about everything, they feel like dating is complicated. They feel like, for women, what advice do you have for women who are trying to put themselves out there and look for a man? Anaya said the quote, you know what I'm saying? Put it on a t-shirt. It said, find you a Carl. She said that you need to find yourself somebody that respects you as a person, that respects your beliefs, your morals, and your values. Somebody who is going to be there for you and confide in you when you are sad, and that also wants to be with you in your happy moments. And Anaya feels that they have to see all phases of you. Anaya said in the villa, she felt like it was a really big test because you go through this kind of insanity a little bit. I feel like that's why people build a connection so fast in there, because it's like you see all the phases of them. So just having a partner by your side who can see the ugly, who can see the beautiful, and can still stand by you and cherish you, I think that's one of the most important things that people don't really realize on the outside world that you need to have. I feel like the villa is a really big social experiment, but it really does grow your bonds and showcase what you want to find in a person. Trinity said that she remembers that Sean said something, basically that when you're in the villa and you're in such a different situation compared to the outside world, you can't bring your traditional morals and values into Love Island, which is true, but, you know, because you're going to be in a position where you're going to talk to multiple people at once and not get a consequence and not get in trouble for it and everything else. So ultimately, you know, that's when Trinity was like, you got to be open, you got to be honest, you got to know what you came here for, and just being open-minded and all of this and all of that. And she says that in this day and age, she thinks everybody wants to be perfect, and social media has everyone in a chokehold. This person's supposed to have this person's supposed to have that, but in a real healthy relationship, you have to grow. You might not be exactly alike, but more about if you're open to being there and building that with them and to growing that, and that is what matters. Then Teen Vogue asked, what are you guys most wary of men these days? Trinity said she is wary of men who have a double life. That is what she is afraid of. She said she doesn't have to worry about that, Neil, with Bryce, but she said that is her biggest thing nowadays. She said men live double lives. You could be talking to a single guy or whatever the case may be, but the whole time he might have a family of 4 in Arizona and you may not ever know about it. She said she's never personally had that experience. Anaya said something she's wary about. She values honesty because she feels like a lot of people are liars nowadays. And Trinity says yes. Anaya says, like Trinity was saying, a double life, people lie so consistently nowadays, it's kind of hard to find someone who's going to be truthful to you. And Kata said, and just that loyalness, meet someone that is loyal. And Anaya said, hands down. From the edits of each of you, Teen Vogue asked the next question: what is something you wish would have been included? Something that was not in the final cut of the show that we did not get to see. Anaya said that she wished they showed more of her goofy side. She felt that she was always so serious, but that was because you were stressed out. And that's what Anaya said. She said, because I was stressed out. And Kata said she wished that they showed more of her jokes. She was always making jokes. She felt like her and Zack Attack were always laughing together, but that was not shown. Trinity said that she wished that it was shown for her more intimate conversations in both her friendships and her relationships, and even in between people that she may not usually have conversations with or talk to and everything else. And then Anaya agreed and Melanie agreed. Next question was that from Teen Vogue: was there anything you ended up seeing after you watched the show that made you feel differently about your couple? Trinity said it wouldn't be necessarily that it made her think different about her couple, but she was thinking when her and Bryce was rewatching the show back, he saw some things, and she said, don't play with her. She said she's trying to be serious, but she said that they were rewatching the show back together, and she couldn't look at the girls as she was trying to explain this on the YouTube video. If you watch the YouTube version, I'll pin it in the comments. You'll kind of understand how she's trying to explain this. But she said that they were watching the show back, and she did not realize that Corbin, really had Bryce shook. And that, basically Bryce got in his head about Corbin because of who Trinity said that her type is and what she usually rocks with and everything else. And she felt like when she saw Corbin, she was acting a little bit thirsty. Kata said, not gonna lie, we all were very excited. So she said that same day, it was her and Bryce had the conversation of them just being friends and having that understanding that they're gonna try harder and do more. And then after that talk, then Corbin came in. And then Bryce was kind of like, OMG, and got in his head because basically was like, well, you never did that with me. And that would have been your ideal type. And Trinity felt bad because she was excited, but it was not okay because he did not, see any of that until he got out of the villa. And he was like, why were you doing all of that? So it made Trinity feel a certain type of way. It made her feel like crap. It made her feel like bad that she acted that way. And it made him upset and uncomfortable and everything else. And so then Teen Vogue was like, but you're not going to do that now, right? And Trinity was like, I would never do that. And Teen Vogue was basically like, it was just at that particular time, that moment. And Trinity was like, that's what she said. That's what she told him. She said, we were not dating, so it was different. It was Love Island. So then Teen Vogue asked, how are you guys all managing being recognized in public? Has it been overwhelming? And so Trinity says it definitely has been for her. Melanie says that they love everybody that comes in and, is, wanting to take pictures, wanting to meet them, and is supportive of their journey. But she said that they all come from a regular life. She said that that she's pointing to the different ladies at this point on who was a waitress, who worked at a department store, who was working with their family. And Mel said that she had, I know she hates the word Mel, but anyways, Melanie said, I had 3 jobs and managed a bikini store. I think you just went from 0 to 100 real quick. It wasn't a buildup. It's like we handed our things away in Fiji and then left Fiji. And then Trinity says you left as a random person and you come out as the most talked about person in America right now. Anaya said that it was weird because she kept getting her hair done at home. And one time she was at the salon, and at the salon, there were people that were walking and they were like, hi, Anaya. Hi, Anaya. And Anaya was like, dang, how do they know me? Why do they know my name? What's happening? I'm just home in ATL. I'm just home in Atlanta. And so Anaya in her mind is trying to think, but wait, where do I know this person from? Like, are we friends? Are you mutuals? Or do you know somebody I went to college with? Like all the things or the sort. And then Anaya has to register for her. It's like, oh yeah, I was on Love Island. That's how they know me. And Melanie said that happened to her, that she was in the car wash and some girl was like, hey. And she was like, hey. And then I was like, oh, hey. And Anaya said it doesn't register whenever she's at home. Whenever she's at home at ATL, it does not register. And Trinity said she says the same. She said one day her and Bryce went out to a steakhouse and there was this nice girl, but she said she was like, "Hey girl," and Trinity was like, "But I know that's not my girl." And I was like, "Do I know her? Maybe I do." And she felt rude. And she's like, "Am I misleading? I don't know." And she's like, "I just love y'all." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And it's her birthday, so I was like, "Okay, period." So like it's just nuts, these fan interactions. Melanie's like, "We just forget sometimes," and Trinity's like, "I really do. We really all forget," and that she's very genuine. And when she says that, she's like, "Do I know this girl?" I felt kind of bad because for a moment I haven't forgotten anyone's name, and then I have to remember. But she says she loves the support. She wouldn't be here if it was not for the people that supports her. So all of that means a lot. So then Teen Vogue asks, "Has this trickled down to your families as well?" And Kata said her mom was at a tanning salon, and the girl behind her was like, "Are you Kata's mom?" Anaya said when her mom and she calls Carl's mom Miss Nancy, that they were hanging out the other day. They got stopped so many times for people to take pictures with them. This is crazy. So keep in mind, this interview was done in Los Angeles, and this was the same week that the reunion was filmed, in which Anaya's mom and Carl's mom were both in Los Angeles. They were going out to restaurants, they were going out to the things. But yeah, so that's what Anaya is referencing, that while they were both in Los Angeles, they were getting asked for pictures and stopped for pictures. So they said there's a lot of hanging out with parents, and Anaya was asked how she likes it. She says her mom and Carl's mom talk to each other every day. They text each other every single day. She thinks it's the cutest thing. She's obsessed with it. She's shipping it. She loves their content when they post stuff together. And Melanie was like, that she eats it up every time. Kata said it's adorable. And then Teen Vogue asked about, Trinity's mom and Bryce's family, how that was going. Trinity said that they talked. She said that she hasn't really been checking in, but she says she knows that her mom and her aunt are planning a trip to Boston. She knows that they definitely want to meet up and see his mom. Also, she finds Bryce's grandmother funny and finds her the sweetest, that her mom loves her. When they went to visit her, her mom was like, "FaceTime me so I can see her. I want to talk to her. They really love each other. It feels really good." And so then Melanie says, "I feel like even with each other, our family's really close." Melanie loves Trinity's mom. Trinity was like, she's literally on the phone with her mom earlier today, and she was FaceTiming her, right? And so Melanie says her mom is just like, my mom. Whenever she's on the phone, I always ask her mom, about her, because I feel like she's another mom. I remember when she hugged me in the villa, I felt this comforting feeling with Trinity's mom. I wanted to leave with her. Let's go, please. And then Trinity was like, my mom was saying the same thing. She was like, Melanie has such a calm and soft vibe. And at that point in the villa, Melanie's going through it. So to have that familiar mom hug, and even my mom to feel the stuff she was going through with that hug, I think it was a good bonding moment. They have each other's numbers. My mom will be calling her. Melanie says that Trinity's mom be praying for her and that she loves her mom. And Trinity says that her mom prays for the core four. But she definitely loves her some Melanie. And Melanie was like, even Anaya's mom, I love her mom. Trinity was like, she's so sweet. And Anaya's like, my mom loves all of y'all. She seriously loves every single one of you guys. Then Kata was like, she is such a baddie, referring to Anaya's mom, that she's such a baddie. And Anaya said, thank you. Melanie was like, Anaya's mom's a baddie. I thought that was Anaya's sister. And Kata was like, literally, same with your mom. And Anaya was like, yes. And Trinity was like, yes, you and Miss Erica, the Arabian queen. And Melanie was like, and your sister, she's a baddie. And Anaya was like, oh my gosh, your sister's beautiful. So, see all the gushing? See all of the gushing, right? And so ultimately, they love the fact, because when Kata came out, she didn't realize that all of the family is keeping in touch with each other and in support of each other. And then Trinity was like, even our sisters talk a little bit. So, Melanie then talks to Anaya and is like, your mom, I just heard that your mom went up to my mom when it was villa time, when they were all hanging out. And my mom, and Anaya was like, oh, seriously? And Melanie was like, yeah. She was like, my mom didn't really speak Spanish that well, but your mom still tried to talk to her. And Kato was like, English. And Melanie was like, oh, I love that. Sorry, my mom speaks English also. Your mom really did try to have a conversation with her, and my mom loved it. She was so kind. And then I was like, I love that. I didn't even know that story. And Melanie was like, I just found out. And Anaya said, you know what? Also in the villa, when your sister came up to me and she said those kind words, I was just like, oh my gosh, I felt a part of the family. And Melanie was like, yeah, you are a part of the family. My mom only knows your names. She does not know the boys' names. And clock it, because that's, you know what I'm saying? Clock it. You only know the core 4 names. She only knows the girls' names. And Kata was like, that's all that matters. And Melanie was like, that's all that matters. And she was like, that's the one that's with Trinity. That's the one that's with Anaya. That's the one that's with Kata. And that's how it needs to be. Legit. And so Trinity thought that was so cute. So they talked about, Teen Vogue brings it back and says, so we talked about the culture shock moments coming out of the villa. What was something that was funny that you were like, oh my gosh, I forgot life was like this? And Trinity said that she loved the memes. Anaya loves the memes. Trinity felt the memes were so good. They were so funny that a lot of people were saying that production's telling them things to say. And Anaya was like, yes. She was like, no, we're just Gen Z is F-U-C-K. And Kata was like, literally. And Trinity was like, we all thought that Corbin was giving ChatGPT. And Anaya was like, yes. And Trinity was like, we love Anaya in that photo booth giving Michael Jackson. Remember with the white hat and the black where she's breaking down crying, but it's giving Michael Jackson. And Melanie was like, yes. And Trinity was like, everybody's like, how do they know that? And Trinity is like, because we're all under 25, I got confused. And she said that, I will say the fact that people saw the memes or even just funny moments when they were just chilling and they made a meme or a funny moment, it's hilarious. I forgot how funny and brain rotted the world is. And Kata said as well, it was boring in there sometimes. We had to joke around. We had to do something or it was going to be actually boring. And Melanie said we laughed a lot at our moments, even our bad moments. We kind of replay them. We make fun of ourselves too much. And Anaya said that's how you have to get through it, though. You have to make fun of yourself in there or you're going to go crazy. And Kata said that is right. And so Trinity was like, my girl is going through it in that photo booth with Michael Jackson. This witch with a B is going through it. Why are we joking? She's like, it's a challenge. And I was like, it's a challenge. And they said that one was good. And they asked, you know, what was your favorite meme? And so Trinity said that she had told earlier today that her favorite one was movie night. And that was when Zach was saying sorry about what's going on when he was doing what he was doing. And she was like, sorry, that's not about to cut it. Boy, I'm about to shove this heel up your ass. And Trinity literally turned and laughed at her face. Kato was like, she was like, ha ha ha. And Trinity was like, she was DEAD. Or like you said, when you and KC was going at it and she's just over there thinking, like playing. And Anaya was like, oh my gosh, I saw that one. It's all the math equations around her thinking. And Melody's like, I still think about this one. They put me in a pixie cut. Melanie was trying to win Sincere back. I died. Actually, I believe that was shade at Soul. But anyways, Trinity said there's so many good ones. The one Anaya sent me, she's bald. And I was like, oh, I know. I love the bald one. Trinity was like, I love when they make us bald. And Melanie was like, I love when they make us bald. And I said, also the one when we got back the letter from Casa, and I have my hat on and the glasses like that. And Melanie said, yes! And Anaya was like, remember when Anaya gets the postcard of the pictures and she's like examining it like she's a physician, like she's a nurse reading a medical chart, you know what I'm saying? She is like glued inspecting every single photo of what is going down. And so Anaya was like, yes, me too. Melanie has that reaction of Anaya looking at that photo, looking at that postcard. She has it on a t-shirt, you guys. But Anaya said, yes, she does. She has it on a t-shirt. That is one of her favorites. And then Trinity was like, okay, one more. I guess is when it's not really liking Bryce in the beginning, but they would make him bald. They were editing him as a bald spot and that it would grow. And Kata said, stop it. And Trinity was like, they were growing the bald spot. And Melody said that was funny, that they were so funny. And Anaya said that they got really creative with the memes. Melanie said she also loved the companies that were offering her free stuff because she wrote it down. I'm looking for each person that told me you were going to give me something for free. I wrote it down. I'm coming. JetBlue. I need my free stuff. But here's the thing, Melanie. The caveat is if you dump Sincere. The caveat is if you break up with Sincere and you are single as a Pringle, you can get all this free stuff from all these brands. So then Teen Vogue asked, I think it was you, Melanie, who said how important and cool it was that 4 black women that are in the core 4 in the final and how special that is. I thought it was Anaya that said that. How does it feel coming out the villa knowing that as 4 black women really owned it? So Trinity said it feels good. It's never been done before. And not only are we 4 black women, but we have so many shades of black women that's in the final 4. And I think we have so much representation. We have Afro-Latina representation. We have dark-skinned women for representation. You have a mixed girl representation, a biracial. I think it's beautiful that we could all connect with so many girls and not just black girls. I feel like you can even connect with anybody that's a part of women of color, because if it could be done with black girls, it could be done, you know, with anybody else, right? So ultimately, it could have that difference with other people. And so she has to give credit where credit is due, but there's been previous black women in the final 4, even just season 6, having Janae and Serena in the final 4 in the top 3 was a really good feeling. I think they open the threshold for people to feel comfortable to want that. And that's why I said they made history having 2 black women go 1 and number 2, go first place, second place, go winner, go runner up. That's never been happened. That's never happened on the show. We would be lucky if a black woman, just 1 black woman, made it to a final, right? And so then Trinity also said that I will say that this has been the most diverse cast that I've seen in Love Island history. I was like, whoa, there's so many people in here that I feel like I can connect to. I feel like I can relate to, and it's a comfortable feeling. So I think that it's amazing. We have so much support and love. I can't wait to see how much more it's going to be changed and be better in the next season. And Melanie says for other shows too. And Trinity says, I agree. And Anaya says, exactly. And Melanie says, not just for Love Island, but for every show. And Trinity says, for sure, especially on dating shows. I think that you don't see a lot of diversity in a lot of dating shows, especially having a certain group win, like black women. And Anaya says, yeah, exactly. And then it says, it's amazing, so I love it. And they then have a link to watch it on the YouTube, you guys. Because I noticed that there's some things in the article that's not in the YouTube, and then there's some things in the YouTube that's not in the article. But overall, I love this article. I want more Core 4 interview stat. I actually just want to show like a Sex in the City, like a Girlfriends, where it's just the Core 4. It's just the Core 4, and we can see how they're navigating their relationships. But I feel like Peacock's going to overdo it again. They're going to over course correct and try to lock in as many cast members in Beyond the Villa. I'm wondering if they can opt out or buy themselves out of participating in Beyond the Villa due to all the hate, due to all the discourse, all the negativity, because I think that Peacock's going to be in for a rude awakening depending on what happens with this reunion. If it's not enough good vibes, or if not enough issues are settled, some of these fans are going to go to war. They are going to go to war. But I feel like the Core 4, I feel like none of them need Beyond the Villa. The demand for them is there. The demand for them is there. I just don't understand why we had to hide all this press. I don't understand why we had to hide all this press and hide all these amazing personalities and hide the Core 4. They should be everywhere. Commercials, brand deals, all of the sort. You know what I'm saying? Because I love their vibe. I love their interaction. I can't believe we had to wait this long to get this interview, you guys. That is really insane. That is really insane. Peacock, we've got to loosen the reins here a little bit. We've got to loosen the reins and allow these people to flourish. So I bet you there's going to be more content coming as we head into this reunion, because the reunion's on Monday, and then there's going to be more content coming after the reunion. So, but overall, I loved all of this. You guys are already doing the girlfriends comparisons. However, I have not seen people get the correct comparisons right of which girlfriend's character each of these islanders are. And it's been funny to watch. It's been absolutely hilarious to watch. But I love this. I believe all the Core 4 men had liked the article as well. Also, Magajen is all over these comments, trying to let y'all know I love the Core 4. I love these black women. I know RACIST. And you know what I'm I'm saying? But I love the photo shoot. People were trying to do discourse of who's next to each other in the photo shoot. And my response to you is you need to watch the YouTube. Because Melanie and Anaya are sitting together. Anaya's kind of in the middle next to Trinity. And then Kata is next to Trinity. So y'all making a big deal out of the photo. Some of y'all need to watch the YouTube interview. But I feel as though I loved everything about this. It was very positive. I love that the girls are not feeding into the negativity. They are not feeding into the toxicity of the fan base. They are doing what season 7 did not do. Season 7 has allowed themselves to get involved in fan discourse and allowed themselves to get involved into Stan Twitter. And I believe that has ruined things for a lot of them. Even though a lot of them are successful and are getting brand deals and are getting opportunities, a lot of them are lonely. A lot of them allowed the fans and even their family to get in their fat heads about these other islanders because y'all had y'all own insecurities and jealousy, right? Some people allowed the fans to get in their heads about their relationships, whereas some of them stayed in relationships they should have never been in, and some of them got out of relationships, but due to fan pressure and everything else, because they were too concerned about whether or not they were liked. No. And if they weren't liked, guess who they took it out on? But I love the fact that these Islanders realize, and I feel like Serena gave advice. Because I believe Trinity might have said something in another interview that Serena gave some advice to continue to be yourself, that the brand deals, the opportunities are always going to be there, but continue to be yourself no matter what. But I also believe she gave advice for the core four not to be on Twitter, for them to stay on 10 toes down in their friendship. Do not allow social media to try to pin y'all against each other. Do not allow yourselves to get involved in stand wars. Do not allow yourselves to allow the bullying and the harassment and the threats to these other cast members. Stand 10 toes down that y'all are a family. You guys are a united front and all of this and all of that, and y'all gonna be Gucci. So that is all that I have for this video, you guys. I want y'all to let me know what you think of the article. So this was the article in its entirety, you guys. But again, like I said, there is a YouTube and there's going to be a part 2 YouTube that is going to be out there. And I need y'all to run up the numbers. I need y'all to run up the views so that they know that the core 4 is where it's at, y'all. So there's that, you guys. Do me the biggest favor, and that is to hype the video. Hype the video, please. Hype the video like you never hyped a video before in your life. There is that. That is it. That is all. It's todos es final. It's finito. Is he in the road? Is he in the line for this video? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.